Yeah.
And I feel like that's why she's not developed, because it's like she's not part of the main crew, right? Of what do they call it? Midnight Raid?
Yeah, you
Is that what the
say
group is
that,
called?
but she has more development than a lot of the main cast.
Yeah, because the
I
main cast
mean-
gets killed. So
Wow, spoilers! Spoilers!
All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me tonight, I have our czar of source material, John.
We're running in the 90s.
Damn it. Our wizard of Wait What, Shinoda.
I had chicken tendies for my meal of the day. It was
Did you
good.
have some honey mussy?
Your one
Some
meal
honey
of the
mussy with
day.
those tendies?
Yes.
Oh, mad.
And our chivalry of Shotas, Shotaro.
I just woke up.
What else is new?
Flawless.
All right, so before we actually get into what we're talking about tonight, I do have a bit of sad news I do want to pass on to everyone. So back on August 25th, absolutely legendary voice actress by the name of Miyoko Asao passed away. She was 92, so she lived a really full life. But she had been in the anime industry since 1949, I believe.
God damn.
Lord.
Yeah, so she has been basically a pioneer in the voice acting industry in Japan. Probably the best known role that she ever had was for I think 46 years. She played the same character on Sazae-san. She was the voice of Tarao on Sazae-san. If you've ever seen it, it's probably one. I think it is. It has the Guinness book. It is the Guinness World Record holder for the longest animated television series ever, and it's been running.
I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yeah, that show's been running continuously ever since 1969. I do believe.
Wow.
And she was on that from its beginning in '69 until 2015 when she stepped down. So I'm pretty sure that's probably also a record for the longest time anyone's ever voiced the same character. But anyway, if you're not aware of that, she's also she's played. If you've ever seen the sub of Full Metal Alchemist, she played Winry's grandmother in that, and she's played a whole bunch of other minor roles throughout the years. In Galaxy Express 999, in The Ancient Magus Bride, Yu Yu Hakusho, Ranma One Half. Basically, she's been everywhere. So I just wanted to kind of take a moment and just say that, you know, it's kind of a shame that we lost her, but she was also 92, so it's hard to say that she didn't live a full life. And it's also worth mentioning that there are several other female voice actors that have directly credited her with getting them into the seiyuu industry in Japan, among those being Kana Hanazawa and Aoi Yuki. So if you like those two girls, you definitely credit her for getting those two in. Anyway, so moving on. What we're talking about tonight is strong, and I say this in air quotes, strong female characters in anime, manga, etc. Now, John, you're the one that actually proposed this topic, so I want to get your opinion on this. What exactly are we talking about tonight when we say a strong female character?
Well, what I envisioned when I thought of this topic about a strong female lead was someone who had impact, someone I would remember throughout an entire series. So they don't necessarily have to be like a main character. They can be side characters or someone who's impacted the protagonist of a anime or a manga to the point where it's like, wow, that person was so memorable. They helped the main character grow in some aspect.
Gotcha. So we're not necessarily talking about characters that are physically strong or mentally strong or even both. Just necessarily characters that left some kind of an impact on you while you were watching it.
Yeah, and it kind of came to me because I was thinking, wow, there's not a lot of anime where there are a lot of strong female leads, rather, there are a lot of anime with strong female. Oh, I should say female leads, not strong female leads. But
Cough, fairy tale cough.
that's just, I couldn't remember except a handful of women in anime where I was like, I totally know who this character is. They left such a great impact on me. One of them being like Revi from Black Lagoon, and I get that she's part of the main cast, but it's if you've ever seen Black Lagoon, it focuses mainly on Rock and his experiences and how he transforms people around him and how he actually becomes transformed by his environment. Revi being directly affected by that, how she starts off as like this kind of broody, staunch, like I'm kind of just a badass chick that's gonna fuck everyone up, to actually caring about shit and thinking about her future and caring about Rock. And it really left a big impact on me, in part that, I mean, yeah, Revi's like the poster girl for the entire show, right? And Black Lagoon actually has a lot of strong females, which is very surprising, because each one does have a lot of impact. Like, you'll remember each one that you meet, and they're not, other than Revi, I would say they're not main characters, but they do have like kind of their own arcs. Other examples from Black Lagoon would be like Balalaika. She's just this Russian girl. They actually give her like a backstory and stuff, but she's just this like, she's a mob boss and she's a fucking beast. Oh my god, it is so cool when she actually like goes into action and just. I'm not sure if anyone else but Alex here has seen Black Lagoon, but you remember the twins arc?
Yes.
When they have to kill
That
Hansel
was
and
my
Gretel.
favorite arc.
Oh, and with Balalaika at the end, when there's this entire arc where you know Balalaika when she's first introduced, as she has a scar on her face. She's some ex-Afghan fighter from Russia, and she's seen shit. She's had a bomb blow up on her, and she's still fucking going around shooting.
She's a
people
boss
to
ass
death.
bitch.
Yeah, and then at the end, something that really happened, or something that really impacted me that happened, was how she just plans everything meticulously to capture these people that are hunting her own people down, and how she just sings them to sleep at the end without like just moving a finger at all. She doesn't go into a fit of rage for them killing her people. She just calmly and coldly kills them, or kills one of them with a sniper. And she's just like looking at him with dead eyes, and I'm just like, this stone cold bitch scares me. Like, I can't forget Balalaika is this badass, and she has another role to play later on in the series to show more of like how she doesn't give a shit. She just gets shit done. It's fucking great.
Yeah, I think it also helps, speaking of Black Lagoon, as like in their portrayal of being actually strong characters, it really helps is how strong their introductions are. I mean, if you look at all the female characters in Black Lagoon, pretty much they all have really great character introductions, and I think that really goes to serve that impact that you talk about.
Yeah, it's like every single of the females, the girls that are introduced in Black Lagoon, they all have really like, this is a new boss type of intro. It's like, who have we unlocked now? Meta Ridley.
That's a really good way to describe Balalaika, though.
I know, and another girl from Black Lagoon who has her own even like OVA is Roberta, and when she's introduced, you just see her as like some maid, and you're just like, oh yeah, whatever. But then when they get to the climax of like, this maid is a fucking monster, she's the Bloodhound, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so cool. And they even flesh her out even more by giving her an OVA arc, Roberta's Blood Trail, which is great. You should watch it if you like Black Lagoon. If you've never seen Roberta's Blood Trail, watch it. It's really good. It dives into her backstory. You learn more about how she became a soldier, and she's just so badass. And there's a lot of character growth, which really impacted me as well, because one of the things that Black Lagoon does is when they introduce these new badass girls, they're kind of just throwaways, like Ava or whoever that Thai chick was, the one with the blades. I don't remember her name.
Oh, I forgot her name too.
Yeah, because see, she's like kind of there, but she's kind of not. And they do have a lot of these throwaway characters. Ava is pretty impactful to the story, but they don't really dive much into her. But Roberta, I thought she was just going to be another throwaway, But when they did Roberta's Blood Trail, I was just like amazed that they would even consider fleshing out this character. It was just very impactful.
Yeah. What about you, Sho? When you think of a strong female character, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
So, when someone says a strong female character, I think aggressive in like basically a masculine female character, because being strong is a traditionally masculine trait. Not that that's bad or anything, but the thing is that a lot of female characters in anime and manga are masculine and aggressive and confrontational and like violent. Like
Yeah, like the Yankee trope of a Yankee girl, right?
or even like the tsundere trope. Like most, like a lot, or the yandere, or like just like most girls are really aggressive.
Or you could
in
even
anime.
apply that to gyarus. They're a lot like that too.
Yeah, delinquent types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tropes. They're all tropes.
Well, and I mean, that's a part of anime that I really like, is that I find that the traditional Western gender roles are often swapped, in that like women are super aggressive and a lot of men are super submissive, which I find interesting. Or at least for a while. Sometimes it gets tired over a time, but it's interesting for a while. But that's not really a very exclusive sort of categorization if you take strong female characters to mean like aggressive. So I interpreted this topic to mean good female characters, which is a very exclusive demographic in anime and manga, because I don't see a lot of good female characters. And what I mean by good is like, well written. They have development, they have nuance, they feel like actual peoples, not tools. They're like an actual well-written person and not like a plot point.
And they have a purpose to the story, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really care if they have a purpose to the story. I care if they're believable as characters.
So would you say like S Death? Is she a powerful character?
She's a strong female character. I wouldn't say she's a good female character.
Okay.
In the sense that she doesn't really have any development. She's a bad bitch at the beginning, and she's a bad bitch at the end. There's no progression. She's very likable and endearing, and I love her. But she doesn't really grow, or there's not really too much nuance in her character. She's sort of like a gimmick, which I'm fine with, but there's only so far you can go. So
that's actually very interesting, because she's not a main character in that entire series. She's kind of just this antagonist that kind of exists for the sake of the story.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why she's not developed, because it's like she's not part of the main crew, right? Of what do they call it? Midnight Raid?
Yeah, you
Is what the
say
group is
that,
called?
but she has more development than a lot of the main cast.
Yeah, because the main cast gets killed. So
Wow, spoilers! Spoilers!
All right, if Akame got killed, everyone dies. Come on, everyone knows this.
It does have
my
kill in the
gosh.
title, so
Wow,
I mean,
wow. Anyway,
I mean that's I think that's a fair assumption of how you lay out a strong female character. What about you, Chinoda?
For me, it's someone that stands out, like someone who really stands out, gets shit done, can be badass about it or not, but it's someone who just stands out in the said world, whatever we're watching or reading. It's someone who I'll remember, who leaves an impact, whether they matter to the story or not.
Okay.
So kind of similar to what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
the
more
impact
about, it's more
of the
about
character,
the impact
yeah.
than the actual portrayal. So most of the time, then, like if you can remember this character down the road, it's like that was a really good character.
Yeah, that's how it is for me personally.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I have sort of a combination of beliefs about this between what John said and what Sho said. And I can actually give a really good example of why of a character that sort of exemplifies this. So in Soul Eater, you have Maka Albarn, who is I find it really fascinating because she is the lead character, the main character in a shonen, which is clearly being marketed toward young men. And you don't really see a lead female character in shonen very often. But it's also, she plays sort of this fish out of water where like she's she's good at what she does, but not so good that it's unbelievable or like, hard, unrealistic. And that she's surrounded by men who seemingly do what she does a lot better, but she's always constantly trying to make herself do better because of that. And I think that's the reason that she sticks in my mind so much as a good, strong female character. And it's not necessarily that she's the strongest female in the show. She's not. But it's because of the fact that she overcomes all of her own shortcomings and realizes that she has these shortcomings that makes her a strong character to me.
Now, I feel like that's only the case because of her weapon, Soul, because he makes such a big impact on her as well. And he's integral to the entire story and her building her self-esteem and like overcoming
Their whole
these
partnership.
obstacles. Yeah. So is she strong because of Soul, because of his impact, and literally the dynamic of every other friend, I guess, like Kid Soul or that guy, what was his name? The guy with the
Death the
pistols.
Kid.
A Death the Kid.
The Kid, yeah, with his symmetry and his not
Yes.
symmetry. It was so weird.
It
But
was.
it's like the entire show has a cast of like I guess they're not main characters, but they play a big role in Maka's world, right? They're
Yeah.
always around her and they're always adventuring with her and they're always overcoming obstacles either alone, but then they come together and then unify and then like, we need to stop this thing, right? And it's just, to me, the entire show, they all have super strong characters they're just all eccentric, they're all unique, like that freaking ninja kid who fucking sucks, Kid Star, right?
Black Star.
Most
Black
annoying
Star, yeah.
person
Yeah.
in the world.
Basically Naruto with blue hair.
Oh god, and I feel like that's why Maka sticks out, because she's not as eccentric as these other characters. She just kind of plays as a foil to everyone.
And she's
or
kind
rather,
of
everyone
normal
plays as a
compared to
foil
everybody
her.
else.
Yeah, and it does make her stick out more like that. There is more of an impact of like, look at this other girl who's actually trying hard though in this world full of fucking crazy dudes.
Yeah, who don't really have to try that hard to be very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that yes, they definitely help put her out there more, but I think inherently she is a strong character of her own will. Like we have seen how she grows up from like just a small child into an actual badass.
That's why, certainly by
Yeah,
the end of
that's
the
true.
story. I
Yeah.
would say though, going back to your question you had, I would honestly say that she strengthens herself for the people that she surrounds herself with. That's
Like a
where she gets her
typical
strength
shonen.
from.
yeah, okay.
But it's
I get
just
what you guys
it's
are
so
saying.
weird. It's so weird with Soul Eater because you don't see there's so few shonen that have a female main character, and that's why it sticks out so much. I think.
Fairy Tale.
Okay, but
Let's not.
Fairy Tale
Is
kind of
Lucy-
sucked.
Lucy's not really a main. No, the entire.
She's
you're-
the point
no.
of view character for most of the show.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
she was
true.
just fan service, and that's it.
Damn. I mean, there's
Wow.
the main problem with the show.
Hey, you know what? I love Lucy with her super. What? See, I don't even remember her skill. Was it keys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Keys?
celestial keys.
Summoning, I believe.
Celestial keys.
What's
yeah.
your horoscope? I'm feeling Aquarius.
Stop.
Okay, let's get to her in a bit.
Yeah,
Let's get
Yeah,
to that in a
let's
bit.
talk about Soul Eater Not, the spin-off that
No,
never
let's
was.
not.
Oh my
Let's-
god.
Let's never ever talk about that again, and let's pretend it never happened ever.
I remember reading the very first chapter of the manga, I believe, that came out of Soul Eater Not, and I was like, what is this horse shit? What is this super tropey? I'm late to school. Blah blah blah. Fall down these stairs. Haha. Call back to Soul Eater 1. Get it? And I was like, nah. I'm cool. I already
Fucking
finished Soul Eater.
Yuri
I'm good.
bait trash ass
Oh, was
hat
it what,
Yuri?
bullshit. Yeah.
Who
Oh, it
was
turns
the other-
into it about halfway through.
Who's
Yeah,
what's
that
the
seems about
ship?
right.
What do you mean? What's the ship?
Who are the two women?
The two main girls.
I would
You
like
didn't
to
even
move
watch
on.
Soul
I
Eater.
don't
Fuck you.
care.
I did
one
watch
cares.
Soul
No one-
Eater.
No one cares about Soul Eater Not. Oh man.
All right.
But the thing that you mentioned about Maka, I think also applies to a character like Akko from Little Witch Academia.
It's funny that you say that because I believe Akko isn't a strong female lead.
Wait, what?
Like-
Really? Okay.
So my entire time watching Little Witch Academia, it's a run of the mill story of your starry-eyed like head in the clouds girl who wants to make it in some fantasy world that she doesn't obviously belong in, and she overcomes trials and tribulations through friendship and magic. You know, very similar to My Little Pony, if I'm being completely honest. And I am not a brony, but I love the show. Well, up to season 3, I loved it, and 4 or 5, let's not talk about. My Little Pony's also ending, by the way, guys. So that's a thing.
Allow me to hold back my tears.
It's still going on?
Right? That's what I said. Anyway, and to me, in Little Witch Academia, someone who had more of an impact, because to me, Akko's pretty tropey, right? Your typical shoujo character girl who's just trying to become a mage and just be all happy, and she's just a freaking dunce, right? She's klutzy, fucks up everything, but she has a heart of gold, guys. She'll make it. I'm just like, this is not impactful. I've seen this a billion times over. What makes Akko more unique? And you know, I actually love everyone else in Little Witch Academia more than Akko, because I'm like, they're tropey, but at least they're funny to me, I guess. But I don't even remember the teacher lady, the one who inspired Akko. She has way more of an impact to me.
Shining Chariot?
Shining Chariot
Wow.
has so much more of an impact. And it's so tropey. It's like, yes, you were amazed by Shining Chariot, and she's a super amazing witch that's trying to spread magic and love to everyone. Everyone should love magic. It's great for the world. I'm like, that is impactful. I want to see more of this. And I get that Little Witch Academia is more about the following the story of Akko and coming to the, you know, a coming of age ceremony for her, basically, so she can graduate into a witch and spread magic and joy across the world. I get it. I loved Little Witch Academia, right? Don't get me wrong. I just don't personally believe Akko is a very strong female lead. She doesn't have very much impact. She's very plain and boring and then you just have to like watch her grow up, and then when she finally grows up, you're like, yeah, that was all right. That was okay. It's not like she turned into an alicorn princess or anything. Twilight sparkles.
Wow. Do you think that she still like satisfies that whole fish out of water thing, where like there's so many people around her that are way more adept at what she's trying to do than she is?
Yeah, but they have so many other characters that I cared more about, like Machine Girl, who's like, you know what? Fuck magic. I'm gonna just build robots. I love robots. And I was like, that's so cool.
Or Susie, who's like, nah, I'm just gonna poison everyone to just satisfy my own curiosity.
I just like Susie's the best.
Susie is
She's
best
literally
girl.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, all the girls around her just seem so much more interesting than Akko. Just so much more. But
That's fair to say.
I do get that Akko is supposed to be the lead, and I get it's just not a lot of impact. All right, just what's the difference between this and another typical Mahou shoujo, right? Well, I guess they're not Mahou shoujos, they're witches.
Actually, I think
they're girls that do magic, so that ticks the 2 boxes for Mahou shoujo.
I think most of the secondary cast is more tropey than Akko. I think Akko has a really well portrayed personality, especially because of the voice actress. It's like a lot of other Mahou shoujos, they're very, very like stale in voice acting and personality. Like Akko is more like flexible and organic. She feels like a real person.
Okay.
So I think that's the best part about Little Witch Academia, is that there's a lot of organic chemistry and voice acting and personality. Yes, if you like boil it down to the basics, she is a trope. Like, what isn't a trope? But to me, it felt refreshing. So
okay. I mean, like I said, I do agree. Everything in the show, even the side cast, they're all tropey as shit. But I just found them a lot more interesting than Akko when I first saw them, because I'm like, look at that, like, again, Mechanic Girl. I don't even know her name. I just remember she likes building shit, and then she makes that super broom that was super cool, right? And it's like, how did you do this? I get that it's supposed to be like, oh, it's because she's a fucking mech whiz wizard. And I was like, this is so cool.
Like, why don't we get more of them?
Because they're not the main character. Akko is, and we have to go through her entire journey.
You know, I just want to say, based on what I heard at Otakon, we could get more of that if only people showed enough interest for Netflix to greenlight a second season.
All right, let me go watch it 1,000 more times. No problem. And
Just
the movies.
put it on the background.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from with Akko though. So I want to move on to another point. So especially in the last couple years with the new Star Wars sequels that have come out, there's been this huge debate about Mary Sue characters. So I wanted to ask you guys, in the anime and manga, etc. realm, do you guys think that there's actually a definable line between a character being considered a strong female character and a Mary Sue?
All right, before anyone says anything, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't know what a Mary
clarify.
Sue is?
No, I do not know what a Mary Sue is.
Okay, so a Mary Sue. Hold on, I'm gonna actually pull up the definition.
Okay, wait,
Urban
hold on.
Dictionary.
Remember Rey from Star Wars?
Ray. I've never seen Star Wars again.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
this-
that's right.
this
Fuck,
is the-
never mind.
This is the dictionary definition of a Mary Sue character. A Mary Sue is an idealized and seemingly perfect fictional character. Often this character is recognized as an author insert or wish fulfillment. They can usually perform better at tasks than should be possible given the amount of training or experience, and usually are able through some means to upstage the main protagonist of the story.
Oh, okay, so they're like a
See-
Gary Oak.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you could have just said that. It's like Mary Sue is like a Gary Oak. Like, oh, okay, the antagonist.
Speaking of which, the male version of a Mary Sue is called a Gary Stew.
no way.
Mhm.
That's funny.
Also, fun fact: the term Mary Sue originates from Star Trek fanfiction.
Wait, what?
Okay, all right. So I guess, is there a definable line between being considered a strong female character and a Mary Sue? Again, this boils down to this: do they have an impact, or were they literally ex machina'd into the story to prop up the protagonist? Right? Like, let me pull an example from Mega Man, which is and it's not female, I know, but in Mega Man, when was it Zero? Was it Zero? No, X. Fuck. Which Mega Man was it? I don't remember. I'm not running on very much sleep. When you play as Zero, you meet Vile, and Vile just whoops your ass, right? And then I believe X comes out of nowhere and just beats the shit out of Vile, and you're just like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? And it's like, yeah, you could totally beat him. You can totally beat the shit out of Vile. And then, like, as you progress through the game, you just get more and more similar to X. You get like the same parts and stuff. And X exists only to boost the protagonist, which is Zero. I believe that's what it was. I don't remember. This is from Mega Man, a video game that I played a long time ago. And I'm very tired.
Okay. What was the point of that tangent?
The point is that John is very tired, and we should
I am very
forgive
tired.
him
That was the exact
for
point.
his rambling.
No, the point is that the Mary Sue is not supposed to be a strong female lead. It's supposed to prop up the strong female lead. They're a support.
Gotcha. Okay. So, okay, I see what you're saying then.
Like they act as like checkpoints of progression, just like how Gary Oak acted as a checkpoint of progression for the main character, right? The
Yeah.
Red, was that the main character's name in the game?
And in the first game, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Okay, well, I bring that up because there was an example I thought of when I was thinking this through, and that's a character called Birdie Sifon Altira from Birdie the Mighty Decode. Now,
Okay.
you eventually learn that she's not a Mary Sue at all based on her backstory once you get past the halfway point. But she's presented as a Mary Sue when you first meet her, and like it's they don't even try to hide it. Basically, like there's literally nothing she can't do. There's nothing that she can't think about. It's like she can literally do it all. And there's no explanation ever given as to why until you get past the halfway point and you look into her backstory. And a lot of people point to that specific instance, like, because you have to wait so long to find this out, that she actually is a Mary Sue because you have to trudge through to the halfway point to find that out. I don't think so, but it's a compelling point that's made because, like, how long do you have to wait to, like, show that these female characters have had to work to get where they are for them not to be considered a Mary Sue?
Interesting.
I
So,
think it's a personal call, honestly, on that. And I'm sorry, sure, go ahead.
oh no, you continue. I'll do it later.
I personally think it's a personal call, when it comes to things like that. Like, if you have to wait, like, why do you have to wait in the first place? You shouldn't have to wait so ridiculously long. Maybe, like, sure, it doesn't have to be very first episode, but maybe 3, 4 episodes in, you should, at least have a glimpse of it. If you have to get to the halfway point, it is a bit ridiculous. But at the same time, if you wait for it and the payout is actually good, then is it worth it? I
I
think
mean, that's the question.
yeah. I think personally it just depends on the person. That's my thought on it. Show, go ahead. With whatever.
Well, okay. Well, I was thinking that like Birdie is the main character of the show, right?
Yes.
So I was thinking that it's easier to have a self-insert Mary Sue character as the main character, but when the female is not the main character, can they even be a Mary Sue? Like, I find it very difficult for it to be a Mary Sue when it's not the main.
That's a really good question.
And,
Can
like,
a non-main character be a Mary Sue?
A lot of the good female characters that I'm thinking of are not main characters. They're side characters. So I don't even know if they would even be a Mary Sue. But going on that line of thinking, I just thought of like Overlord, which is super over the top, and maybe that's the point of the entire show / novel. But like most of the characters in Overlord are self-insert, like including Albedo, who is a side character and a female.
Who is it?
And I
thought you were just gonna say who is Albedo.
I think
Albedo,
she
who
would
is
be considered
Albedo?
a Mary Sue, just because she's just overpowered. She's just like everyone in the Overlord main cast of Nazarick is just perfect and can't be. There's nothing really wrong with them. So, and they rub it in everyone else's faces. So,
All right, that's because they were created by the 41 supreme beings. Okay, so
uh-huh.
Oh my god.
no, I completely understand what you're talking about because it's.
But I think Overlord is like an exception because I think that's kind of the point. Like it's going over the top on purpose. But I think in most anime and manga, like if it's not the main character, it's gonna be hard for it to be a Mary Sue.
So that's
Okay.
interesting. That we bring this up because if you've ever seen there's an anime called Michiko and Hachin, and it's like it was super weird when I first saw it. It's about minorities in South America that are Japanese but also like South American. Kind of weird, right? And we have our main character who is Michiko, and she's this like super badass chick, right? She doesn't take no shit from nobody, smokes cigarettes, rides around a scooter, and just beats the living shit out of people. And someone who's her Mary Sue would be Atsuko, one of her childhood friends that she grew up with in the orphanage. And Michiko has led a life of crime, whereas Atsuko, she grew up and became a police officer. And throughout the entire series, it seems like Atsuko looks like an idiot compared to Michiko, right? But when you look at Atsuko outside of Michiko, without her there, she's actually very intelligent and actually she gets shit done. Like she'll take down bad guys no problem. But it's only when they actually collide in the story that it seems like this person who used to be perfect is just here to make Michiko look better. You know what I'm saying? Like Michiko is a stronger female lead than Atsuko. Atsuko Jackson. That was her last name. That was bugging me for a bit. I couldn't remember her last name.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I actually agree with you on that. And Michiko and Hachin is a really weird show, but you should definitely watch it if you haven't.
I liked it. It wasn't terrible. Wasn't great.
No.
It wasn't
It's
bad.
made by the same person who made Yuri on Ice.
No way.
Yes,
Really?
Sayo
Can
Yamamoto.
you feel
Okay
my
then.
heartbeat?
Let's not sing.
All right.
But that kind of leads me into my next question because and we've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but do female characters, whether they're main characters or not, do they have to develop independently to be considered strong, or could they perhaps develop through other characters, either male or female characters, and still be considered just as strong as if they had developed independently?
Well,
Okay, I
first
feel
of
like-
all,
Oh,
Go.
first of all, just because you're not the lead character doesn't mean you can't develop independently.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Okay.
Okay.
You can have your own side arc.
Yeah, I feel like how do we define strength? First and foremost, right? Like there are a lot of strong female characters. An example I'm gonna pull that I did not write down is the mother for the main character in Erased. She's actually
yeah.
Yes.
mentally strong. All right?
Very
And
much so.
we don't learn a lot about her, but we see how she cares for her son throughout the entire series. And all we know is that she is a single mother raising her son. And she is so strong. Like a
Like,
really
that
good mother.
woman is a true badass.
Yeah. And she wasn't really developed. All we saw was just how she treated the main character. And that was it. She was just a mom.
That's kind of the point, though. All of her development came through her interactions with other people, and primarily through her son.
Because her son, I mean, she is the catalyst for what starts all of Erased, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, what a disappointing manga and anime. The ending sucked.
Disappointing, but it did give us some great characters.
Oh yeah, like she's one of the best mothers ever in anime, in my opinion.
I do remember, I believe it was Marcus that when he was still on the podcast, he was saying that he wasn't impressed by her because he actually was like, my mom is exactly like that. And I was like, that's actually very interesting because my mother was never like that. Not this strong. I really liked Okasan.
Okasan. Well,
Juicy lips.
Kind of rolling off the back of that, there's another single, well, she's not actually a single mother, but she is a mother figure. Akari Kawamoto in March Comes in Like a Lion, who is a badass because she's a very strong, again, not an actual mother, but a mother character because her parents died and she's having to raise her two younger sisters pretty much by herself. Yeah, she does have her grandfather helping her, but it's not exactly the same. And almost all of her I would say 90% of her development comes through her watching her raise her sisters and her interactions with the main character Rei.
I have no clue.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
You haven't watched March Come Like a Lion, have you?
No, I haven't. So I have no clue who you're talking. I know who you're talking about. It's the older sister character. I know exactly who that is, but I've only seen the first 3 or 4 episodes of the first season of March Comes in Like a Lion. But again, she didn't have that big of an impact on me because at the beginning you kind of just get introduced to her and she's like, yeah, I play the mom character in this show. Like, oh, okay. Got it. Thank you, One-san, who is now Okasan?
Technically?
So are you saying that she's good because she has to interact with the other characters?
I'm saying that she's good through her interactions with the other characters.
I see.
And like when you see her motherly instincts, it's like, wow, this would be a really good mother to have.
I think she's definitely one of the better or best portrayed mother characters in anime. You don't go too deep into parenthood in anime. I think she's
very
a good
true.
one.
There's only a couple of anime that really do that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
Because
Animation budget
not
constraints.
Parents are not the main demographic.
Yeah, man. They're always somewhere in America for some reason. Always
Overseas.
Always, yeah.
Word.
I think, was that like throwing shade at the low birth rate?
I don't know. It's just, yeah, we've talked about this before where there are not a lot of parents in anime. It's kind of weird, right?
Very
But
weird.
then again, parents in anime kind of suck. Because it's not about you. It's about your middle school kid that looks like a high schooler. Or a high schooler that looks like a middle school kid.
Or a fucking loli that says she's 40.
Oh, God. What was that? The fucking shitty one that came out last
Literally
year.
any anime ever.
Yeah, that was Masamune-kun's Revenge.
Yeah, Masamune-kun's Revenge.
God, that show was terrible.
I never finished that. I watched 2 episodes yeah, I'm done. See you next year. All right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
So really, the last question I really had about this, it might actually be the best question to ask. Are the portrayals of exceptionally strong female characters in anime, manga, etc., are they necessarily realistic, or are they just fulfilling an idealized fantasy?
All right, so
Oh.
yes and no. If you look at Black Lagoon, the women in Black Lagoon are obviously just fantasies of the main guy, the guy who creates it. I forgot his name. Oh my god, it's blanking me right now. But like these type of women to live in these conditions and become this badass, and just basically the entire town of Ranapur is just scared shitless of literally like 4 girls in the entire city. It really is, it panders to this fantasy of there's this super strong woman, strong, independent, don't take shit from no man kind of woman in this world of like lawless thugs, right? And you're telling me a fucking Nazi boat full of like 50 Nazis could not take on one Chinese American girl with a grenade launcher. They all had like machine guns and shit, and she just walks on the boat and just walks through. She literally has music playing and walks through and kills everyone. Like,
it's like she has a soundtrack to just badassery.
Yeah, and I get that she's supposed to be like, you know, a walking storm. That's the entire appeal of Revy, but it's just, that's so unrealistic. I love Black Lagoon, but come on.
What about characters like the Major in Ghost in the Shell or Dunin in Appleseed?
All right, so I put down Motoko Kusanagi, aka Major from Ghost in the Shell, as a strong female character because she isn't someone who's like overpowered or anything, like in a bunch of shows that I mentioned, like in Black Lagoon. Or Michiko, who's like just a super gangster. She's just very level-headed. She's very snarky, witty. She has a pretty funny sense of humor. I love how the American voice actor for Major talks and just interacts with everyone. Like, she's not overly serious when she doesn't have to be. She can goof around, but she's also very mature about everything. It seems like she's a lot more mature than her displayed age, I would say.
It's like she knows when she can lower her guard and she knows when to pull the reins back in.
Yeah, and this is just a very level-headed individual, which is extremely realistic to me. There are a lot of level-headed women in military positions, of like, you know, high-ranking military positions or just high-ranking positions in general. They don't.
Yeah.
So something that you see in anime is like a lot of these, let's say, strong women, like, you know, the super smart ones or the super fierce ones or whatever. They're always lone wolves, right? They always are like the Ice Queen, and they stand at the top, like, disparaging everyone around them. But that doesn't have to be true. That's super tropey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I love the Major. She's just like, yeah, dash that. I'm not an Ice Queen. I'm just a real fucking person. Like, I love you, Major. Marry me. And speaking of, so Dunin Newt from Appleseed, which is another sci-fi mecha thing that's super old. It's like, what, 2004? No,
2004, 2005, I think. Yeah.
That was the Appleseed movie. It comes from an OVA back from like the 70s, I believe, or something. It's old. Appleseed's old.
It's really old.
But Dunin is a main character who is also super relatable. When you first meet her, she's just like this unstoppable warrior chick that's just kind of like, I'm gonna kick everyone's ass, and she does, and she's super cool. But the more you learn about her past, you learn that she just grew up in harsh conditions in war, and her father was a commander or something like that, a captain. He was a high-ranking official or something, or a researcher, I forget. But she actually builds her character, and through rigorous training and the loss of very many friends, she becomes who she is. This like absolute badass that feels like she can't be touched, but she still has a rationalized side that's connected to Bararios, one of her lover slash dad's friend guy, bodyguard. It's kind of weird thing. He's also a cyborg. I really can't explain to you Appleseed. It's a lot, but
it's like she's in love with a mech, and
yeah, and it's just you've got to watch the 2 movies that I'm thinking of to really get a feel for Dunin, so you can know what happens before she becomes this like super badass army chick to afterwards, and how she grows as a person who's like, instead of thinking of only in war terms, once she becomes hardened, she still softens up over time and can re-enter society. It's very realistic for like someone who's been in a very traumatic experience and tries to readjust, and she has like breaks, and it's just super crazy. I like Appleseed. Appleseed's really good.
I actually there's a character that I can sort of relate to that with. So Riza Hawkeye in Full Metal Alchemist. So she comes off when you first introduced her. She acts like a fucking badass, but you also find out as the story goes along that she definitely has a soft spot, especially for Roy Mustang. And that's because she's been sort of. Well, I think at first she was forced to basically protect him from himself, but over time she kind of became really comfortable in that position. And it's like you look at Riza and then you look at Roy, where Roy Mustang is like really emotional and he kind of thinks with his heart and he just goes in guns blazing. Like Riza is the one that pulls him back, and she's like the logical pendulum for him.
Riza is the foil to Roy, right? They come as a pair. Then in the entire show that they're introduced, like she's supposed to be like that. It's like that on purpose. And she's a strong individual, I'd say. I'd say Roy had a much bigger impact on me than she did.
Well, yeah.
But she again, they come as a pair. They're foils to each other, and they play off each other really well. And I do think that they help develop each other's character a lot more through
Most
their
definitely,
interactions.
they bounce off each other a lot.
She makes up for his shortcomings.
Yeah, it's a shame that you guys, if you haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist, I swear, go watch Brotherhood. Do it.
Yeah. I mean, she's portrayed as a badass in both, so
Yes.
I would say she's actually portrayed slightly better in Brotherhood, though. I don't know if it's just because she got a more complete story in Brotherhood. I guess that would be it.
Yeah, because she's a lot more fleshed out in Brotherhood, which
Yeah.
gives her
you actually
more.
in the 2003 Full Metal Alchemist, you really, especially in the beginning, you don't see her very often.
No, she's kind of just like an assistant that's assigned to Roy, right? She seems like a
It's like a
secretary at
secretary.
first. Yeah, exactly. And it's not later until the series in the 2003 Full Metal Alchemist that she actually becomes kind of part of the entire scenery. Is that the thing I'm thinking? Background for Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where she's just always there.
Yeah.
What
Sure.
about you, Sho?
Well, the thing is about what we were talking about in that are females, do they need to be realistic or are they just an idealized fantasy? Honestly, it's not just women. It's like men are idealized fantasies a lot of the time, especially since anime often incorporates supernatural elements. A lot of you say how I forget which character, but one character walks into a boat and then blows it all up with a grenade. I mean, even if that character was a man, that's kind of doesn't really make sense.
So the thing is, in the entire series for Black Lagoon, the only people who kind of damage Revi are other females, the other strong females, with a few exceptions of Chang, because Chang is super cool. I love Chang.
Yeah, but I'm saying that just lots of different anime have single, just one single man killing a huge amount of people. And they also have one single woman killing a huge amount of people too. I think they're equally idealized fantasy, and I think it's just the genre, honestly, of supernatural, that you have these crazy, powerful people that are obviously not realistic, which I think is fine for the genre. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. But when you go into a genre like, say, school, slice of life, no supernatural elements in there, then you get characters that without the fantasy element, that you can see whether they are strong in a realistic sense or not. For me, what I'm thinking of is in Scum's Wish, the main heroine, Hanabi Yasuraoka, which from a dictionary definition of strong, she is not. She's pretty weak in that she's indecisive and broken. But I think she's strong in the sense that she's a good female character, in that the story really goes in depth to her mental state, and they don't treat it as something superficial. They go super in depth into her problems, into her romantic frustrations, and it's super nuanced. And that's what I love about it, is that you get to see a super detailed portrayal of her going through her problems, and she actually reaches a resolution. She actually grows and develops, and she is a completely different person at the end than from the beginning, and it doesn't feel forced or anything. And that is a realistic, like, a lot of, I wouldn't know because I'm not a woman, but I can imagine a lot of women go through this sort of romantic frustrations. I think it's very realistic to a lot of lived experience. But at the same time, I think the fantasy version of a strong female character still has its place. I still think that both the realistic and the fantasy are equally good for their respective genres.
All right, well, let me inject something. So if you combine those two things, a school and a fantasy setting, actually have an example of that, a character that I think is strong. So Hitagi Senjogahara from the Monogatari series. I think we can all admit that the Monogatari series is a fantasy show.
Yeah, I mean, there's
well, it depends on how you look at it.
I mean, there's crabs, there's lions, birds like phoenixes. Monkeys.
I mean,
monkeys. There's snails.
Oh my
Math.
gosh.
Math. There's also math. Don't forget math. And snakes. Don't forget snakes.
That's right.
I mean, for the majority of the show, though, Senjogahara is not supernaturally inclined.
That's true. But my point is that, like, Hitagi is a character that is like she's very mentally strong, but she's physically weak. And I think that throughout the development of the Monogatari series, especially through her, romance with Koyomi and like helping him through all of his shit, she becomes so much stronger for doing that, to the point where and the hardest thing for her to do from the outset of the Monogatari series is to let her guard down and let someone else in. And then eventually that's what happens, is she becomes so comfortable around other people is that she drops her guard and she lets them in. And I think for someone that started out like she did, with so closed off from everyone, to come to that point where you're so open with everyone is kind of a strength.
Well,
I'd say that
from the very beginning, she's very stoic. When she even when she first has to deal with that priest dude, when she was that thing that happened and it was super terrible. She's just like, yeah, no, fuck this noise, right? and even when she's enduring her conundrum, her issue, and she meets Araragi, she again just endures all of it. And she, even when she's explaining to him like what happened and how she's just basically like, yeah, it is what it is. There's no hope. And I would say there's a lot of mental fortitude, yes. However, there's also like this very gentle girl on the inside that's also like, just, she's still a girl on the inside. It's very realistic. She may seem like she's strong on the outside, but it's just she's not tapping into her emotions properly. And it wasn't until she met Araragi that she started doing that. And that's when she started lowering her guard, expressing herself more, and actually being comfortable around everyone, right?
Being more of a person.
Yeah.
It really comes to a head in the second part of Owari Monogatari, where her and Araragi are driving down the road together, and she just looks at him and says, "Call me by my name." And he says, "Senjogahara." She's like, "No, my first name." And he says, "Hitagi." And he's like, "Thank you." It's like, that's like, she finally let her guard down enough where it's like, yeah, I'm yours and you're mine. I'm good with this.
Yeah. Until we get that NTR thing that I was talking about earlier, right?
No, fuck that. Fuck that noise. Like, listen, I know, listen. Hitagi's not the best girl in the Monogatari series, but Hitagi and Araragi are the best couple.
Okay.
So, Chinoda.
Yo.
Are portrayals of strong women in anime realistic?
I think that very certain characters can be, but I think most of the time they're not, because a good amount of them just tend to be a bit outlandish. They tend to be out there. They're propped up is the thing, as more than life.
Okay.
So I don't think they're extremely realistic, but I think there are realistic sides and tendencies all these strong characters do have.
Like a heart of gold
Yeah.
Strong
Exactly.
bonds of friendship.
Oh gosh. Nakama.
Ore no nakama.
I mean, real talk, like stuff like that can be just that. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. All right, well, I gotta ask this. There was no other way for me to shoehorn this in. I gotta know why you wrote the Nichijou girls down here.
All right.
I could not think of a
So-
segue to get into this, but let's end it with your talk about the Nichijou girls.
So I wanted to talk about the Nichigo girls, Yuko, Mio, Mai, Hakase, and Nano for a split second about strong female leads and how I believe they are not strong female leads. They are basic bitches. However, because they are basic bitches, when with all their powers combined, they become Nichijou. And Nichijou is fucking random, and I love it. I don't know
So
why.
they're like it's like Captain Nichijou by your
Captain
powers
Nichijou.
combined.
That's yeah. So the thing about the five girls that is that five? Yeah, five girls that I listed is that Yuko, she's the idiot. Mio, she's kind of the one who Sukomes, right? She's the one who with the comebacks. Mai, she's just a fucking troll. She does whatever the fuck she wants. She's completely random. Hakase is the just like a genius girl that just again, she's like super smart, but she's also a child, right? And it's a weird dynamic. And she creates Nano, someone who's super innocent, right? And these five characters combine to make a really good dynamic of a really memorable show for me. Even though they themselves are not strong individually. Like, if I just saw one of them, I would be like, oh, yeah, Yuko, she's just the stupid girl. Like, Aho girl, right? What was her name? Banana girl.
Banana.
Banana? And it's just stupid girl. And it's super tropey. And I'm just like, yeah, there's plenty of stupid girls in anime. I don't really care about that. But how Yuko interacts with Mio, Mai, and eventually Hakase and Nano, it creates this, like, huge power-up where I'm like, oh my god, this show is so fucking funny. And it's not just the slapstick humor or anything, but it's just they all reflect on each other really well to create an impact for the show. That's all I wanted to say. They themselves individually are not good. Because again, Yuko's an idiot. Mio's a Fujoshi, right? She draws
Yes.
Fujoshi. And she's just kind of Tsukome, right? And no one really likes Tsukome characters if they don't have the joke teller first. You can't really have a Tsukome if you don't have a joke teller. And Mai's place is actually a little bit weird in my opinion. Because she kind of exists to be the random outs of, alright, something happened. We need to take this to the fucking extreme. Mai, do something. And then she does, right? Like when they're playing, like, what? Rock, paper, scissors, and then she hits her with the statue. And then,
Yes.
God is dead. And I love it. And then in betweens with Hakase and Nano, how they're just dicking around where Hakase is just like creates something super weird. And then Nano kind of succumbs to that. But then she doesn't know how to react because she's like, I don't know what's happening. Hakase, please stop. You're going to destroy the earth. And it's just, they all work together so well to create a really impactful show.
It's almost like you're watching 5 different parts of an individual personality working together.
And that's why I said with their 5 powers combined.
They are Captain Nichijou.
Yeah, I definitely...
You forgot the best girl in the show, though.
What? Tsundere girl?
Sakamoto.
What?
Sakamoto.
Sakamoto?
The cat.
He's not a girl.
That's the joke.
Yeah, but see, the problem with Sakamoto, I would say, in the show, is that he's not very integral to the storytelling, right? He kind of comes in and out of some episodes where he's kind of in there, and he kind of does retorts, the Tsukome. But that's about it. He's not really a dynamic that fits in with the rest of the crowd. Like when was it Yuko and Mio when they try to pet Mai's dogs?
Oh yeah, and they keep getting bit.
Yeah, and they shoot the lasers. I like Nichijou.
How to abuse your animation budget.
I like Nichijou quite a lot.
Oh man, I had to ask that because I saw that on this doc that we're using. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna segue to that, but I got to eventually.
Yeah, I meant to bring it up earlier on when we were talking about how people play off each other. I probably should have put it in way earlier. The second thing we said, the Mary Sue thing,
Yeah.
I guess. But it was just an example of how individually they're not strong, but together they are, kind of deal. That was it.
All right. Well, fair enough. I think that's a great way to end this.
Yeah, Nichijou's good.
I
Go
will
watch
agree.
it.
Yeah. The way to end this show, Nichijou's fucking good. Go watch it. It's got a lot of good female characters in it.
Well, again, they're not good by themselves, but they're great together.
Now,
Captain
if you
Nichijou.
want actually really amazing female characters, go watch Daily Life of High School Boys.
No, Daily Lives of Funky High School Girls. Come on, you gotta get it right.
No, because that's where they are. They exist in there.
God damn it. We didn't talk once about Literature Girl. God, this is a terrible
Oh,
episode.
no.
God damn it.
Oh God! All right,
Oh,
lead
thank
us
you all
out,
out there
Alex.
Yes, thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoyed this because we always enjoy bringing it to you. If you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. If you want to keep up with what we're doing and have a little more fun, you can join our Discord server, become a member of our Facebook group, follow our Twitch channel, and visit our website. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or concerns on this or any episode, feel free to shoot us an email. Links to all of these things will be down below in the description. I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I'm gonna get back to making a pirate bard for my new Pathfinder game. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna be singing sea shanties.
Chnoda, nobody cares.